Mm. Hollabot. How you doing? We've got a brand new portrait that we're doing today. So, we've done a few portraits over the last half week. But today, I really wanted to break the mold a little bit and start pursuing specific emotions. In this case, an odd one to kick off with, really odd one to kick off with. We're going to start with envy. Envy. We've got ecstasy, happiness. Cheers, Brandy. So, like I was saying, this is going to be envy. We're going to have all the emotions, or for as long as this idea runs. Envy's going to have a bit of blue or teal and a bunch of green. That sort of tealy green colour. Ooh, raspier throat. Ooh, good question. These are gouache paints. Gouache. So you won't normally see gouache being used on such a large scale, but there's a couple of reasons why I like it. It's very thick. Its pigment, it's arguably got the strongest pigment out of any paint. Morning to Australia. The time here is 10:38. And I've still got something in my throat. Hey, Zelo. So if you missed it at the start, pardon me, we're painting envy. Envy. And although we're starting off with a bold color palette, we will tone back. We will tone back to getting a bunch more muted tones in here, earthy colors. But I want these underneath. You see it already? No way, you do not. You don't see her face yet. You might, no. If you're seeing it yet, either you've got an absolute hawk eye or you're making it up inside your head. You might have the hawk eye, or you've been on this channel a lot and you start to spot how these pictures come into fruition. That could be the go here. But part of the beauty of this painting is going to be that it is a beautiful lady. She's aged, but she was clearly beautiful when she was younger. Now, what I want to capture in her is it's not the beauty we're trying to capture, it's actually the feeling of envy. And so the color palette will assist with that. There'll be some wrinkles and they won't have that same joyful evidence of smiles feel. They'll have this pursed want to them. It's an interesting one. So I've got a whole bunch of portraits to do, but this one, I don't know why, this lady's face really grabbed me. One interesting fact about this, guys, this will make this much more intriguing for you as well. This face, I've asked AI, the best AI I can get, chatbot GPT-4, and I said to chatbot, make me a face that represents envy. And then after you've created it, I'll paint it. And then side by side, we'll have what AI believes the representation of envy is versus my representation, in a sort of way to combine and work with AI side by side, collaborate with AI. And it's going to be interesting to see the differences and similarities and between the two. And one thing I've fantasized about, but haven't made any moves on yet, is I know we sell the paintings themselves and the prints of the paintings, but one thing we never do is sell the reference picture. And that strikes me as silly if the reference picture has this major effect on the artwork itself. So the reference picture being the embodiment of AI's vision of envy versus my rendition of envy. This is under the weather. Yeah, I'm not under the weather, but for some reason, as soon as I started the live, my voice, it was like, you know, you get that little bit in your throat? That happened. So, sorry. Can you still hear me clearly enough? I hope so. But this will be, hopefully, the first one where I offer the reference picture, the computer's idea of envy, beside the real one. Real one, my one. You can hear me fine? That's fantastic. Mother Teresa. You know what? It kind of looks like her, but it won't be. So what I've done is I've asked AI, chatbot GPT-4, to generate me a picture that it believes encapsulates envy. And then I'm using that as a reference to make my painting. And we'll have both side by side. I'll show you the and I appreciate that, user. I'll tell you what, you can make your one and use orange and pink, and that sounds cool. This is the picture. This is what chatbot GPT-4 has constructed for us, and says this is the face of envy. So we're using that as our reference, and one thing I love is that the wrinkles actually turn almost scaly, and this green tone comes into it. So there's a lot to play with there. A lot to play with. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how my rendition compares to the AI and which one you all and which one I prefer. The other thing I want to do is AI got there in, I think it took the AI 15 seconds to generate the picture. So that's okay. For me, I'm going to give myself just today. So we're finishing this painting in a single session. A single session. And then we'll compare. And see how we go. There we go. Hey Scott, thank you very much. G'day Jay. You're gonna start swapping from that blue into a green. Now you might notice I'm back to using a regular brush. I left my makeup brushes at home, and it breaks my heart because I was loving those makeup tools. So we'll go back to them. Makeup tools are great because they hold more of the paint. They can't deal with thick bodied paint. But thin bodied paint, they're the best. Beautiful. New plate. How long have I been painting? How long have I been painting now? Honestly, I'm 31 now. So 31, 29 years. Time goes on. Here we go. The next color I'm going to use is raw umber. So this is a very muted tone. It's earthy. This is going to be what, this painting doesn't want to be saturated with a whole bunch of color. It needs those muted tones, and it doesn't want to have this dripping. We will have a picture for depression, but with this one, we want that more perky feeling, but scaly, resentful, envy coming through the shot. That's what we need. Let's get some of this in here. There we go. Ashley. Cool thing is, Ashley, if you get a couple of bucks, you go down to your local art store, pick up some bits and pieces, start painting again. The world of expression will be lucky to have you in it, Ashley. And I would be absolutely thrilled if hanging out here painting this picture got you excited to get painting again. All right. Ignore how you paint. That is irrelevant. Painting is a form of human expression. It's all about how it makes you feel. You're like, that's so cheesy. Yeah, it is. The best answers are always cheesy. The real answers are cheesy. Beautiful. So remember, guys, the original picture has been generated by AI. Yeah, Ashley. Don't let anything stop you. Get into it. This paint that you're seeing at the moment, this is gouache paint. So gouache paint, I'm using it as a pigment and mixing it very lightly with tempera. And the result I get carries zero chemicals, zero toxins, zero anything like that. It's pure pigment, a little bit of guar gum, a little bit of water, but that means there's nothing in this room which is detrimental to my health. If you've ever looks a little sad, we'll remove the sadness from it. We want to capture envy. That's what we're after in this picture. But I like that at the start you see that, because that's the underlying colours. That deep blue brings that sadness in her face where the eyes tilt down a little bit, as if she's whimsically wishing she had something. The gaze will get more steadfast. The intensity will be there and the perk will be there. And what you'll get is this face of resentment or envy, which is what we're after. Now don't worry, we're going to do ecstasy, we're going to do happiness, we're going to do all these emotions. But right now we're doing envy. And then through the series of faces, the contrast will be there from you seeing, okay, envy, happiness, ecstasy, desire, joy. What's going to be fun about that is, without knowing what each face stands for, will a bystander be able to pick the faces and say, that's that, that's that, that's that? That'll be the real test. This face feels like that. This face feels like that. If that's the case, we've done our job perfectly. And hey, LJ. As soon as I said it, you saw it? Fantastic. But give it time. Now, like I say, this is a single set painting. I gave the AI 15 seconds. I'll take one day. And that'll even us out because the AI got all of human information for all of history, all images for all of history. And I just got me. So to make it fair, I get a day and the AI gets 15 seconds to generate. And we'll see who comes up with what. It's funny you say that actually. I was that close. I was hanging out with my best friend and his daughter and his partner. But with three lovely people. I was hanging out with them. And he was saying I should paint a fish. I didn't. I dived on this theme of more portraits. But I tell you what, it was almost a 50-50. See, when I woke up, I didn't realize we'd be here. If I did realize we'd be here, I wouldn't enjoy how sporadic this is right now. It seemed too controlled, too contrived. Cheers, Anderson. Well, I hope that you just been here. A good vibe rubs off on you a little bit. That'd be a positive. Now, yeah, white. It's funny, gouache naturally has a little bit of white in every tube. But for some reason, you'll need more white than almost any other color in the spectrum. Hey from Vegas. We're not playing the drawing game today, I'm so sorry. As fun as that was, we may play it later on, but right now, I want my undivided attention to where these larger shapes end up producing themselves, if that's okay with you. This is where these more scaly features come in. Reminds you of Grandmother Willow. That's interesting, Erica. It's on the right track then. At least we're saying we see a grandma. Well, that's I think what's been depicted here. And it's interesting that AI chose age to represent envy. Because I think it's very prudent for today. And we're all imagining that actually once we're old, it's over. We've missed out on something. And you wouldn't sit there and actually relish in life well lived. Will millennials sit back and be happy and think they lived every moment to the fullest? Some will. All of us? I don't know. Someone tell me. Well done, Simon. I like that. Someone said it earlier, but I'm sorry, you said it funnier. I need some red ochre, team. So there's some red that's going to sneak in here, up here, a little bit here, touch points, and a big splatter across here. And then we'll probably dive into some, I hate to say it, but a little bit of grey. So why does he hate to say it? Because honestly, I love those saturated colours, and so it feels weird to dabble in the neutral palette. We're going to go for the Venetian red. It's going to look quite similar to clay. It's a very clay-like colour. I'll bring it in closer so you can see it. Thanks, guys. Yeah. A rust feel, red brick feel. That's when you get these natural earth pigments. And the beauty behind the natural earth pigments is that they do represent the earth in a saturated way. Concentrated soil, minerals and clays. It's a pity that we're now working with a lot of synthetic pigments, and a lot of people have moved away from those raw, real pigments. Now I get it. They're cheaper, easier to procure and things, but there's a beauty to it being real. You could tell me that orange juice that's freshly squeezed and orange juice that's fake tastes similar. Maybe the fake even tastes better. But it's pretty cool when you know the orange juice is freshly squeezed. For me, pigments are kind of similar. I want that real pigment. And like for colors like ultramarine blue, that's a little bit tough because now you're talking about a very challenging process to get that color. But I find that beautiful. So if you can't afford a pigment that's literally worth its weight in gold, that's okay. You don't need it. You can get those natural earth pigments like this one and produce art that actually carries this innate beauty of being made with raw, real earth substances over, say, random synthetic chemicals. It's just my take on it. If I can get it raw and real, I'm taking it. Do I know anything about Squarespace? Is that Birdie? Birdie, I don't. I've never used Squarespace. My first website was Weebly, and then I moved to Shopify to make it easier for everyone to buy prints. Sorry guys as well. We're a little bit behind with prints at the moment. I'm supposed to have them back up for you all on the 5th of this month. Well, we're past that. We're probably looking at about mid this month. And when the date rolls around, I'll have the prints back available for everyone. And because I've been out for a longer period, I'll make them available for longer at the other end. I think that's fair. I know what colour's coming next. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be worth it. Black. Now, can you guys do me a favor? No, I don't digital draw. But I did ask AI for this picture. And that's what I was going to ask for the favor. When new people come into the room now, when new people come in and ask, like that there, who is that? Or what's he painting? Can you, for me, if I miss it, see you, BD. Can you ask them what they see or feel from the picture? Because if you've been here from the start, you know what we're trying to capture here. And in the early stages, we could accentuate it and we could lose it. But it'd be interesting to know if in the early stages someone sees what we're after here and if we're on the right track. There's a specific emotion from the human spectrum of emotions that we're trying to capture. So think, if you put all the emotions on a spectrum, what one do you feel when you look at this? I'm trying to evoke that feeling more than anything else. I'm after one specific feeling. All right, come here, Black. Hey, Sky. Crazy. Were you here from the start, or did you guess that? If you guessed that, crazy, you are 100% on the right track. So what I did crazy was I asked AI to generate me a picture, a portrait of Envy. And then from that portrait, that reference shot, I'm creating my own version of Envy. And then the two will go side by side, and that will be the artwork. A collaboration with AI. Now, it won't be the only emotion we do. It's the one we're doing right now because for some reason, I couldn't take my eyes off it. But we'll have more emotions. Happiness, ecstasy, the whole shooting box. But yes, score. You thread the needle. Which means that we're heading in the right direction. This whole part here is black. This is just straight up annoying, guys. Hold on. That's what we need. Here I am. Can't get close enough to it. That's why those makeup tools are fantastic. You get right up and close and personal. So guys, just like we did then, if anyone new comes in and asks, remember to tell them about the emotions and see which one they choose. With this black, we're going to run dangerously close to representing despair. So, you can see the power that comes from black though. That's the problem. It's such a good definer that you can get lost in it, and in your pursuit to define, you can lose your entire painting. See how now without the end of the brush, although it will require more shoulder and elbow movement, I get more control over it. It'll result in the strokes being more jittery. Cheers, Sky. We'll catch you later. I appreciate you popping in. I'll make sure this whole thing's available on YouTube, team. So if you do have to go, you can see where we got to. You can wonder if we nailed it, capturing the emotion or not. If you're in America, it's probably getting quite late for you. So don't be afraid to hit the hay. It's a saying that means going to sleep. Good, good, good. G'day, Everdettison. 2 on the West Coast. Well, you've already skipped most of the night. You may as well stay up now. Yeah. Great time, team. So the West Coast is in the afternoon. It's a bit different. Here's our colour palette, like I was talking about, muted tones. There's that grey that we're into now. Joe Blues, you go for gold. Draw away. Cheers, guys. I appreciate that. Hey, well guessed, Crazy. This is gouache. So it's combined with a little bit of tempera. And the goal here is to have paint, which is completely chemical free. There is one last chemical that I'm slowly removing from the paint, which is diamine trioxide, which is about 1.5% potency. I mean, the end products contain maybe 0.001. But the goal is to have paintings that actually have zero chemicals, 0 fumes, 0 solvents, 0 harmful anythings. So you can look at the artwork and know that not only is it pigments that came from the earth, the whole artwork looks after the earth too. It's more pure. Feels weird to have artwork that's supposed to look beautiful, but it's similar to poisonous tree frogs in that it's actually just very poisonous for you. Even if it's not poisonous anymore because it's all dry, does it feel right? It's gotta feel right. All right. We're probably lacking just a wee bit of green. It'll build in. It'll build in. It is hot in this room. Kloiber. No purple in this picture. 0. It's our time at 11:22. Plenty of time. Plenty of time to get lost in a process. More white. That's what we need. Ooh. Take that back. Naples yellow. Yeah, of course, Danny. In between colours. This is our photo. Voila. So what we're working on here, this is an AI's version of empathy. It's for me. I'm working on a collection right now. It's a collection of portraits, and the idea has been developing as we've moved through the portraits, but currently the idea now is to capture one portrait of each human emotion. But instead of it just being me doing it, I'm asking the AI to generate, with all its understanding of every image and bit of text from humanity, what does envy look like? Happiness, sadness, joy. Make me the image. I'll use it as a reference picture. And then the two things, side by side, can be originals and prints together, which I really like. Cheers, Jay. It's funny actually, if you sit down and try and come up with a great idea, it won't happen. But if you start, as you paint portraits, as you do your job, do what you love, an idea seems to come into fruition via its own accord. It's as if it's funny, like, great ideas seem to want to happen. We don't know if this is a great idea yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what this does become. Good question, Dylan. I think it's kind of fun to, music's nice, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of fun to actually paint with the quiet, because that means you can have me on in the background if you want to join in and listen to your own music, and then when I speak, you don't need to worry about turning the sound up or down, which I think is a nice, I think it's a nice touch. Sometimes I play music, but I find it's more inclusive not to have it. Just chuck it on the next device. There we go. Sorry for the spamming, mate. But do you like classical music? You're all good. And in terms of the classical music, I do. Do I listen to it? My usual choices for music vary. widely. I like a bit of country. I like a bit of old school 70s disco. This sort of stuff suits me. I like the old school music, the sort of ones that everyone knows the words to. The ones that when they come on, you're like, oh my God, you remember this one? That sort of music. It speaks to me. It feels more inclusive. Not the most popular music in the world, but the stuff everyone knows. I like that. I need a little bit of green, just a touch. You know, it's funny, one of the first portraits I did once I moved into the Tauranga studio was a Beethoven picture. It was really fun. It was a commission for a lady named Erica in New York. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Haven't heard from Erica in a while, but God, it was fun to make that picture. So many colours. I did it off a black and white picture because I wanted to capture the colour of him, just like he captured music while he was deaf. Kind of a fun parallel. See those colours coming in there and representing what we were talking about. I think so. Can we see the painting on a different angle? It's a little bit tough to move you around, but I'll do it. Here we go. So, let me put my tools down. Here we are in the studio here. So you got my little light here, Sipgi art, desk here, which we'll be working on later on, and here's our picture. So we can see our lady's face. Remember how we talked about that that gaze becoming that intensity, staring off into the distance, and getting that scaly effect through here. But I like it. I like it a lot. We're on the right track. We're not there yet. She's got that sort of cut, hard golem-like feel right now. And so we're going to continue to build out until we get more of that. We're in the right position there. More of that detail, more of those colours coming through. But I think we're capturing it. I think what we're after is there. It's just the subtlety of the pigments we're after now. Lots of subtle changes. Okay, back to those rare oxides. What? There we go, sorry team. Ooh. We're gonna have to, There we go. Oh, that was close. We're gonna let the phone charge for a real bit. A little bit. And then once it's put some charge into it, we'll swap back. Let's get that camera there. Cool, cool, cool. Whew. Bit of heat. Alright. We do need some oranges in there. We do need some oranges. Subtly. First colour off the rings. Raw sienna. Teeny bit of orange through that. Is it enough though? We might get a little bit of primary yellow. Hey John, how you doing? There is AC, but it's controlled by the entire building. So when it gets hot, it gets hot. when he gets cool, he gets cool. This is the world we live in. Now let's see how that picture's looking. Yeah, we're on the right track. Right. I'll let my phone get to about 50%. And it's entirely my fault. I should have plugged it in last night, but I didn't. I'm the kind of guy who never plugs in his phone before he goes to bed. Wakes up with it flat. Voice sounds good. That's good. Actually, unplug the speaker unit. So it should be worse. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't say my method was good. In fact, if anything, it's downright incompetent. But if we have anyone new in the room now, I'd be interested to know if we're still on track or if we've deviated. And I'll know if you can tell me what this painting makes you feel. Just tell me confidently. No wrong answers. What emotion, if there was singular emotion, what emotion has been captured inside this picture? Sad? Yeah. Try and get a little bit more raw. Can we get deeper than sad? Can we get there's a spectrum of feelings within sad. There's different ways in which sadness or negative emotion would express itself. Now, what one's this? Lonely, contemplation. These are all around the right mark, but not quite there yet. after a very specific emotion. I asked an AI robot to generate me this reference picture to create this emotion from, and then I'm creating from that reference picture. You haven't quite hit the nail on the head. You're around the vicinity, but you're not on it. Yeah, you can find the thanks, Jay. Full replays everywhere. You can get them on YouTube. You can get them on. You'll be able to get them on Facebook soon enough. But you can also get them on Twitter. So I'd upload them there as well. So wherever you are, you should be able to reach the lives. Perfect. You're only gaming in live stream, that's me. Tell me, is the excitement lower or higher? I feel like, whoa, this is too much adrenaline. I have to go back to the gaming stream. Next colour up is going to be teal. This teal. Can we see the painting from the right, please? Of course you can. Just let me add a bit more of this white on. Then I'll take you around to the right. I'm sorry I don't have multiple cameras I can flip to. That would be cool if I did. Yeah. On. Just wait for a little bit while the phone charges. Don't worry. I won't run off on you. I'm on 4% right now. I'd like just a little bit more battery before I start uplifting the phone. John, let's test you. So this one here was a picture that I asked AI, the most advanced robot I could find for generating pictures. I asked it to make me a picture of a certain emotion. I've actually got a whole collection now. I asked it for, first I asked it for ecstasy, then I asked it for happiness, joy. Then I thought, to make this work, there's going to be a collection of paintings. I need to ask it for all the emotions. So, I asked it for all of them, and this one really enamored me, caught my eye. I couldn't understand why, but I thought, alright, that's the one we're painting. Now, from this picture, can you tell me what emotion do you think this picture translates to from an AI's perspective, repainted by Seb. I know it's a tall order, and it's okay if you miss. But it's a collaboration between AI and me, because I'm fantasizing about the idea. I like this. Nostalgia's probably the closest. I like that. Longing, Isaac, you are far closer than you realize. You might realize it. The idea is actually the picture itself made by AI will be available alongside the work itself. So that way, I'm not sure if we'll do it yet, but if we can, I'd like that. Because having the image, both in my recreation of it and the AI's, strikes me as pretty special. Grandma Willow looks somber. You're close. Grief. You're close. You're close. I have got one for grief. Funnily enough, it chose grief to be a male. I didn't tell it, I said person. And it made grief male. And this one here was one of the ones that came out female, and that really intrigued me. It almost makes me love it more. How do you have so many colours on the palette but don't mix them at all? Nah, keep going, make a big old mess. Once it's too messy, get a new palette. Sometimes it'll last a long time, sometimes it won't. It turns to porridge on you straight away. Don't beat yourself up, just grab a new palette. I see a lot of artists using one palette, getting upset at it when it gets too full of paint. Just have multiple palettes. And gouache helps. Gouache definitely helps. When I use acrylics, I just use one colour at a time. Because of how they dry so fast, that allows me to actually enjoy each colour properly before I move on. To put everyone out of their misery, not misery, suspense. The emotion we're capturing at the moment is envy. Envy is the emotion. So we're after this sort of, and once I tell you that, you'll have this fiery colour, but more of a murky fire. Green, but not nature, more of like a toxic green. And blue, underneath creating depth, but depth without positivity is just depth. In this case, the depth of envy. So envy is what we're after here. And the reason can I see the other AI paintings? I'll tell you what, for the fun of it, because I have it right beside me, I'm going to get one. It's not an emotion. This was a 90-year-old New Zealander. So we'll grab this one. There we go. This is a 90-year-old Kiwi. And we focus mainly around the eye there. It's a black and white image, but that one there was part of the journey we took to reach here. Without going on our journey through the 90-year-old Kiwi and the photo of the lady, we couldn't have actually decided that I want to start drawing these emotions and capturing these faces. Now, I know I said that we would never do that's beautiful. I know I said we'd never do negative paintings, and I know you'd argue that actually envy is a negative emotion, but I believe in a collection of images that these will become, that capturing envy will create this contrast that will make the likes of happiness and ecstasy stand out more in the collection, and that you'll be able to see what made it full of happiness and ecstasy. Instead of just saying every painting's positive, in a collection, that contrast is going to be what's beautiful. Yeah. And that's true in the case that I think that to truly capture envy, there's a spectrum of emotions. There is a sadness, a longing, a desire, there's lots of things that build up to create an emotion like envy. God, there's nothing worse than envy. Well, there is, but as an emotion, it just is so toxic for you and your happiness. Envy just creeps into everything you do, takes the joy out of it, and replaces it with something that doesn't serve you who you want to be in any way, shape, or form. Oil? No. This is completely pure paint. This is gouache paint. So we've got some gum arabic. We've got pigment, focusing mainly on earth pigments. So that's soil, minerals and clays from the ground, and as natural as we can get it. The ultramarine isn't real ultramarine, it's synthetic. Real ultramarine is worth its weight in actual gold. It looks exactly the same, but it's different. I think there's more beauty in those raw, real pigments. So we try and use as many as we can. And then, as a binder, just to allow the paint to set in between these gouache layers, I add the tiniest bit of egg yolk, tempera, which creates that beautiful, beautiful shimmer to the painting, and also protects it. Stops the gouache from reactivating every time I touch it. There we go. And I like that. I like the fact that I can paint here and not worry about my health. And I like the fact that people who would love this painting would love the fact that it's pure. Pure, natural, no chemicals, no toxins. This whole painting is going to get made with 3 eggs. 3 eggs, natural pigment will make this entire artwork, which I think is pretty cool. How many emotions are we aiming for? We're just going to charge, Jay. We're going to charge and see where we end up. I would say 10, but we'll see. And I'm saying that with this picture here, there won't be this giant period where you're waiting for these to be finished. The AI robot was given 15 seconds. I'm giving myself 1 day. I I think that makes it a fair contest. Being that the robot got all the information of humanity to generate its image, and I just get me. But the robot got 15 seconds, and I get a day. From that, we'll both make our pictures, see what we create, and we can compare them, and see who captured envy, who didn't. Well, no, shouldn't say that. And look at the different ways in which we captured envy as an emotion, as a feeling that we all feel. We look at these emotions like evil things to be an insidious emotion that needs to be taken away, as if you take it away you won't feel it. We're all going to go through envy, different points in our lives, day, no matter how hard we try. It's our ability to handle an emotion like envy. That's where the power comes from. This all-consuming. It's funny because you don't realise it's consumed you until there's nothing you can think about but envy. At that point, it's got you in its claws. This lady here didn't intend to feel envy at all, I doubt. She just started to gaze, imagine, wonder. Probably started with a wish, turned into desire, realised that actually maybe the desire in the context of her reality wasn't possible. And in that long distance gaze, that was a wish that turned into desire, turned into a bit of sadness, maybe a touch of despair, and then she gained control of her emotions again and settled on this resentful, deeper envy in her distant stare. And that's where she got captured in this photo. And that's what we're capturing. I don't think it's uncommon, Mandy. I don't think it's uncommon. I think what actually happens is I think we're raising a whole generation of people to think that age is something to be scared of, that beauty is something that's forever, and we're all going to reach our 60s, 70s and 80s full of envy for those who are now youth, as if we didn't get that at one stage. So, well, I squandered it, I want it back to do it again. If you had it back to do it again, you do it exactly as you did it the first time. It's not about looking back on it and resenting it, and envying those who are now doing it. It's about looking back, accepting who you were, and loving the fact that who you've become is someone who can sit here and watch what things are doing, even if that's all you can do. The privilege to watch. You know, a lot of people don't have that. Beautiful. Okay, I need a bit of that sage green. Time for a new plate. I don't think that's our fault, Jay. I just think we've been conditioned by a society that thinks that is the most important thing, and that's how you sell things, and that's what everyone's built into what they believe. But it doesn't take long to change the tide of that opinion back to actually thinking, hold up gang, I think we've been tricked. Suddenly you backtrack a little bit. You think, you know what? I'm not going to spend that money on a necklace. I'm going to use it to go visit some old friends. I know that's a kind of blunt example, but See what I'm trying to say? More green to pop out of the painting? Yes, indeed. Not raw green. We're going to add a little bit of white through it. And we're going to add a little bit of black into that white. And I grabbed just a wee bit of teal. Here we are. Here's our new palette. Well, that's alright, Jay, because the first stage to breaking out of that kind of mould is just realising it. Once you've realised it, you're already 90% out of the mould. It's much harder for something to have power of your subconscious when you're aware of what's happening. Not always. Sometimes. Deep green. Splashed around a little bit. Into teal. Let's see here. Green. Mandy. Green for envy. Genius. Well, that being said, do you see powerful punching green coming out of this artwork? Or is it far more subtle than that? I'd argue that it's far more subtle. There is green, but actually red's as important. And I don't think envy's best captured in the colour green. Otherwise it would look like nature. What's best captured with the colour green? No, what's best captured for envy, sorry. It's the colours you didn't use. There's no royal purple, which traditionally has always been the colour of those you had. There's no abundant warm yellow, which would be the colour of those who are happy. There's no orange, intense orange, or blue. Intense orange and blue, the colours of those with zest. When I say blue, I mean baby blue, not so much that deeper blue. So when you take away the colour of those who have, the colour of those who are happy, the colour of those with zest, and the colour of those with happiness, what do you have? Someone who didn't get happiness, didn't get happy, and doesn't have zest. Sounds like what you're left with is envy. So that's not done by the green. It's just in the absence of the other colours, green is left. Think about it that way next time you imagine envy. And that's kind of cool because it's saying that the way out of envy isn't to address the envy and get rid of it. It's actually realizing that the emotion you feel has nothing to do with the envy and everything to do with you lacking the zest, lacking the happiness and the fulfillment. And if you want to remove envy from your life, you need to add in the yellow, purple, baby blue, and orange. At least that's the way I'd say it, see it. Cheers, Mandy. Shelby's just offered me a bite to eat. No, I'd prefer to bring the food back up here and then eat it, and for me to be envious of it. Can you guess what it is yet? Sometimes good. Sometimes very good. There we go. There's that bold colour I want. Alright, 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 alright. We dance over here. Pull this up to here. It's time to eat a little chocolate and have the shake I prepared earlier. I think so, Brandy. It's a place we're all heading, if and only if we're lucky, which is beautiful. Whew. That's thick and not awfully yummy. I think I nailed that, but anyway, we're working on a new recipe with walnuts in it for So it's walnuts and strawberries and all that sort of jazz. But I think I put too many walnuts in there. That's okay. We'll work out the ratios. Now, how are we looking with this picture? I think we're coming along. Yeah, actually it's 12:16, and not only do I need some lunch, I need a haircut too. If only to rip the sides off a bit more so I can hear things properly. I wonder if I moved it over a little bit, team. Just tighten that cord just a wee bit, bear with me. No, I can move it further. Good idea. There we go. Oh, good. We might be able to move it a little bit further this way. I'm just doing this process because I want you to get a better, more front-on angle of your face. So you can see the there's definitely a steely gaze to it. Probably my favourite part right now would be the fact that through here there's this temptation when you do a face to outline the face. There is no line in our picture, in our reference, and there is no line here, which means we are just seeing moments of paint and capturing them, especially when her jawline here is quite firm with its lines and her cheek fades into the background. That's part of the beauty. Love that to bits. It's as if this face here, you can try this with your phone, you can put your hand over it. Cover up this whole side of the face. In fact, I'll do it for you. Hold on. Cover up this side of the face like this, hold on, like that. There we go, almost. There we go. And see how this whole thing here is floating in space? There's white that it goes into. And actually it feels like when the other eye goes on, it almost feels tacked on. As if it's not part of the same face, as if it rotates towards you a little bit. And if I go like this, that eye there, sunken in, corrupt. It's an angry eye. Whereas that one has that longing. So, one thing about envy and the multi-dimensional emotion that it is it's not all anger, I want that, give it to me. That's what that eye says. That wants it. That wishes for it. And it's the wish combined with the want in an unhealthy mechanistic way, that causes the face of envy to appear. So if both your eyes were that, you'd have anger, wouldn't you? Anger, frustration, but you would never say that this was anger and frustration. Sadness, peace, reflection, the difference. So you can try that for yourself, especially between layers as we make this picture, because as we get this emotion, just like the AI hasn't just gone, right, here's a face, the whole thing's there. The AI may have actually built this, yes. It's actually built into the AI photo there as well a little bit. And we'll never know whether the robot did it intentionally or not, but certainly from the robot's image, used as a reference, made into this, yeah, we see that. The colour palette's about right. I have a business eye and a loving eye. Totally get it. Alright? Yeah. Definitely a fun picture. More to go. Definitely fun though. Yeah, but Rockwell's stand, without actually exploring these emotions, we can't come to view something like happiness.
That's the thing that frustrates me about all these self-help talks and videos on YouTube and books. It's all about the pursuit of happiness, as if happiness isn't this multifaceted emotion that comes from a whole bunch of smaller building blocks. In the same way, we wouldn't say, let's remove jealousy from our lives. Oh, cool, let's do that. You'd actually say that jealousy has come from a series of building blocks, or in this case, the lack of some building blocks. So, we made this very thick. See, that's the thing as well. We say light and dark, and I love that. It's very symbolic, but a lot of these building blocks, whether they be there or not, are actually grey, and they're not light or dark. They're just feelings and like ingredients, and when combined in certain ways, they make different cakes. If you add too much flour and no sugar, you might get a pancake rather than a cake. If you start adding root vegetables, that might not be the end of the world, provided they're grated up. You'll get a carrot cake. Emotions are no different. It's like flour and egg and sugar and water, and depending on what you add, you get your result. Maybe. Maybe it's a terrible analogy. You see more pride than envy. Good. Good. I think envy follows pride like a Labrador follows its owner. And like we talked about, I think pondering can turn into envy. In the present, if you've got pride, pondering can turn to envy like that. So this is all good stuff. Great conversation. Great things to spot, because like we say with envy, multifaceted, this all comes into it. Jazza arts. He or she sounds lovely. We'll add more to it, Marlene. I'm just having a little lunch break. But like I said, this will be a single take painting. Single take. So when we come back to it, I really wish I had my makeup tools, because I want to do some finer details. And you'd be like, what? Finer than that? It's fine. And yeah, it is. But I like getting a makeup brush these days, because when the paint's got a very, very thin viscosity, makeup tools are actually better than paintbrushes. You can get them for so cheap. Which is kind of fun, to be honest. Like, normally painting brushes, like this one I just snapped to try and make a shorter brush. That's a $20 brush, but it's more useful today, shorter, and I don't have another option, so we snap it. But different horses for different courses. In this case, for gouache with egg tempera through it, makeup brushes are the best. Doesn't look good, wasting time. I'm sorry. It is a lunch break, but I am wasting your time, and I am sorry for that. And yeah, art's funny like that. Some people like it, some people hate it. In your case, you hate it, and I encourage that. What I would hate to happen is for you to be completely impartial with what you look at. I would love you to love it or hate it, and if you love it, I'd love you to hang around and share this moment with me, because if I have something that I love, it would be selfish not to share it. And if you hate it, I do apologize. I'm sorry for being me. And I encourage you to go out there into the world and find what you do love and fill as many days as you can with it until you become this, to avoid maybe one day becoming this lady. All the best. Or Tina's still here and she's like, I've changed my mind. I actually like it. I don't think that happened. Almost done, guys. Almost done. And then I have a few little chunks of dark chocolate. And then we're going to get crimson, but without it being full crimson, I'm going to splice it into a little bit of green, a little bit of oxide, whites and blacks, and just muddy it a wee bit. So there'll be this fire trying to come out through this muddier colour. And so, unless you know crimson's underneath trying to fight its way through, kind of like the vigour behind envy, you'd miss it. I love sculpting red. In fact, after I have this last sip, I've got not a story, but a fun anecdote for you. So when I went to art school back in 2011, I didn't go for painting. Tina's still here like, yeah, no crap. I didn't go for painting. I went for sculpture. So sculpture was what my scholarship was for. I was in performance art, so I would use human form and human bodies, and through morphing them together, through touch, through sometimes dance, but mainly it was the beauty and the strangeness of the human form, and how it started off being just a few people morphed together, mirrors cutting the functions of the body and things in different shapes, into being full-on 40, 50, 80, 120 people linked together in different patterns and structures and things like this. Yeah, a bunch of little comments like it's similar to a cell, how smaller organisms come together to make a bigger organism, blah, blah. But for me, it was more the authenticity of the human experience and the fact that we're not just a life form that runs off on our own. We're actually a life form that loves collaboration, connection, and doing things together. We're actually, aside from what society and what some people have sometimes made us think, we're selfless. We're a selfless life form. And you'd be like, no, everyone I've met's selfish. Throughout the course of human history, self-sacrifice for our friends, families, loved ones, this has been quite abundant in mammals, but in humans. So, kudos to us. That's quite a cool trait, to be fair. ASHS? That's weird. You took it to a weird place. Crazy. This is 99% dark chocolate as well. I love it as dark as it can get. I'm chasing those, what do they call them? Dr. Mike was telling me about them. Polyphenols, that's what you call them. I don't know what they do. He tells me they're good for you. So we're getting one last block of chocolate, and then we get our palette ready. Now, probably when those crimsons go down, we'll saturate it with white and run through a few of these areas. One fun thing I like to do, and we might be able to do it right now. I got a fun game. I'm going to take a picture of this. Then I'm going to give it to Chatbot. Excuse me, it's very rude of me. And ask it what emotion we've got. I should probably do it at the end, but because whatever it says might throw me, but this could be fun. Okay, here we go. Let's grip the whole image in it. there's our character from the front on. Now, I'm going to put that I'm going to crop it first. What do you reckon, guys? Do you reckon the chatbot's going to get it? I'm going to start a new conversation so I won't know that we'll be talking about human emotions and things, but I'm going to ask it. So we're on chatbot GPT-4. Here we go. Photo library, so we can attach photos. So I'm going to attach that. Ooh, that's fun actually. Let me come back to that. Okay, here we go. This is cool. So here's our reference picture. This is what AI gave me as MV. This is MV. Now, I asked it to generate a portrait. It chose woman and it chose old. That was all what it was up to. And then we're drawing, as this is the reference picture, our human expression version of MV. There's us. There's AI. There's human. AI versus human. We'll do this one more time because this is really interesting for me personally, and maybe for you too, to see a human creating MV and an AI creating MV. And they both have their own unique touch and feel, but they both land on the same nail, which is kind of fun. Now, anyway, sorry, let's get that picture. I've painted this picture. It captures a singular human emotion. Which emotion do you think it is? All right. Let's see what it gets. Still loading. Okay. here's what it's given us. The painting is a vibrant expression. So here's my input, just quickly. I've painted this picture. It captures a singular human emotion. Which emotion do you think it is? Now bear in mind that previously we asked AI, the same AI, to generate us the human emotion of envy. We then painted that human emotion, and here's what it's come back with. The painting is a vibrant expression with a focus on the human face, the intense gaze, furrowed brow, and a slightly open mouth could be interpreted as a representation of anger or frustration. The use of bold, chaotic brushstrokes adds to the feeling of intensity and emotional turmoil. However, the art is subjective, and different viewers may interpret the emotion differently based on their own experiences and perspectives. Now, the fun thing we get here that I really like, bold and chaotic, this is my style in a nutshell, so that's fantastic the AI's picked up on that. But the AI is centered around anger, frustration, intensity, and emotional turmoil, which is interesting because we get this pondering lady's face, but the AI's pulled that from it. Now let me ask it. We're gonna ask a very leading question here. I'm gonna ask it, how about envy? Okay, envy could certainly be depicted in this painting as well. The tension in the facial expression, the slightly averted gaze, interesting, and the mix of colours could represent the complex and often conflicting emotions associated with envy. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that a lot. The use of contrasting colours and sharp lines might invoke the inner conflict and longing that characterise the feeling of envy. We haven't been talking about that so much. The line work's been very much taken from the inspiration, but I like what's been said. The art is open to interpretation, and the emotion of envy could be a fitting description for this artwork, depending on the viewer's interaction with the piece. That's interesting. That's interesting. Sharp lines. Yeah, so when we talk about sharp lines, realise that actually a lot of these lines here are quite... I mean, we're using a brush, so a lot of the lines are straight on different axes and angles. But we haven't worked on smoothing the surface off. All the lines have been made quite jarring. And hey Sharma, welcome on in. Alright. Alright. Okay, we're going to grab our crimson now. Thanks for bearing with me while I have a little bite to eat to rejuvenate myself. It's important we don't just work non-stop to the bone, that we actually stay hydrated and stay fed. This is not acrylic. This is gouache. But gouache has been used as the pigment. Ooh. Didn't eat all that chocolate, but now I don't feel like it. Gouache has been used as the pigment, like a paste. We could use, since we are using egg tempera, we could use powdered pigments. But the problem with powdered pigments is even with safe powdered pigments, they are still very, very finely powdered, and as it permeates into the air, it's bad for your respiratory system. These tiny, tiny particles, even though they're not toxic or poisonous, yes, they get into your system, and it's like it's bad news. It spells bad news. So that's to be avoided if you can, but we can get very, very thick, strong pigments from gouache paint. But gouache by itself can get reactivated. It makes it really hard to actually do multiple layers like I love to do. So we ask ourselves, okay, how do we make sure we get the pigmentation and the power of gouache, but we still get the ability to layer? Because I want that colour, but I want to layer. I'm that classic kid who wants the best of both worlds. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. So I use a little bit of egg tempera in the base coats. Now a lot of people say, why are you using egg? You idiot, the artwork will rot, blah blah blah, disaster. Mona Lisa, in its base coats, has egg tempera. So this is not only a very, very common method, but it's the method used in the base coats of one of the greatest paintings of all time. Sorry, I got mixed up. The greatest painting of all time. So it's all good, don't worry about it. It'll last indefinitely. Egg tempera is great like that. Yeah, but instead of using oils over top of egg tempera, like Mona Lisa did, we swapped to gouache, which keeps all the chemicals and nasty stuff out of the picture. And I know a lot of people might not care about chemicals, and to be honest, I didn't when I started either. But as I started to paint more, I got more and more bent on the idea, hell-bent on the idea of creating artwork that was pure, that didn't have toxic things in it, that wasn't releasing volatile organic compounds into the air. And yeah, I get it, when you buy the artwork, it may have been 6 months and maybe it's off-gassed and it's fine now and it's not going to be bad for your health. But I'd like to know that when the artwork was made and the ingredients in the artwork, locked in or not, are perfectly natural and safe and beautiful. So you're looking at something that's actually of the earth rather than something like a poisonous tree frog. Poisonous tree frogs look great in photos. Like, every photo looks nice. But when you get a real frog, as a pet, say, to go in your house, it'd be cool if it wasn't poisonous. So I try and get the wood and the pigment. So this is on wood. It's a painting on wood. Oil tempered hardboard. The gesso primer I use is acrylic polymer, so that's quite plasticky, but it looks after the actual artwork. So we make an exception there. And I was doing that outside in a previous reel. But then after that, all the paint you see on the surface is pure. And what I'm going to start doing, or what I've been fantasizing about doing in the future, is actually writing down what pigments are in the artwork. So rather than saying, oh yeah, but he probably used a dangerous form of oxide, or he used this or that, you'll be able to see, no, for his black pigment he used PBK7, which you'll know comes from this or that, or you'll be able to actually trace it. The traceability of every colour in the artwork, that's where the future's going to go to, for me personally, when I make the artwork, so that people who purchase the painting can actually have a little breakdown on the certificate of authenticity. Certificate of authenticity basically used to say, this is a real artwork. Now, we can cheat, fraud, basically do whatever we want. So a signature is not as important today as it was in 1850. But that being said, the certificate of authenticity could also include, hey, here's the exact list of colours that we used. Here's this, here's that. And then all of a sudden, like never before, you've got an ingredients list. Think about that in terms of being an art curator. You can literally know exactly what's in the work so you can look after it properly. And on top of that, as a collector, to know, oh my God, I've got this colour, this colour, this colour. For example, my Naples yellow isn't actually standard Naples yellow. This Naples yellow is actually made from PW6 and PBR24. That's the codes for the two pigments. Now they seem meaningless, but actually what that is, I think that's raw sienna or red ochre, and then titanium white. So this is actually more of this is a spliced one. It's the same color. That's Naples yellow to a T, but it's two pigments spliced to make it. So it hasn't got any dangerous heavy metals and things. Much safer. But as a collector, isn't that fun to know? Like, if I was going to buy a cake, it'd be pretty fun to know every ingredient that went into it. Sorry, Crazy Dotho. Yeah, of course. Grab a bite to eat. You're like, I've been here for ages. You told me you're going to start painting again. You didn't. You're still yakking. Now, the kind of paint I'm using at the moment is designer gouache, Winsor & Newton. But before I tell you that this is the colours that you should use, bear in mind that this is my little set right now. I am dancing around a few different ones, and I haven't fully settled yet. So don't go buying Winsor & Newton designer gouache thinking, I'm going to use what Seb uses. Because you might find that next month, Seb's onto something new. So here's a disclaimer. There's a little warning. Now you do you. But in terms of most art stores, this one is a very, very affordable, while also being very high quality. This is like, this won't help Americans too much, but if you're from Australasia, Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache is like the Toyota of gouache paint. Affordable and super reliable. Alright, let's grab this. A little bit of this. Let's grab this brush. There we go. Get a bit of paint off it. Okay. I didn't do crimson. I went for flame red, which is more like a Venetian. This will be good. No. Envy's the emotion we capture. I'm about to start painting though. Can someone give Brandon the spiel about what Envy's about, how we're capturing it, where the image came from? Yeah, it's that red oxide look. This is good. So it's going to be very similar to the color already on it. Just build you back here a little bit. You were actually thinking about the word. That's interesting. Well, that's what we were trying to capture. That's what we're after. We're after envy. All right. And we've gone up to 16% battery. So we're not charging at a disgustingly fast rate, but we are charging. Oh, that's right. No dice. Thanks, Jay. She doesn't seem happy anymore. Maybe you just got used to the emotion of envy. Would you say the contrast of envy is admiration? Let me think on that. No. Though they do fill the same space. I wouldn't feel like the absence of envy or turning the dial would increase someone's admiration for others, nor the lack of admiration becoming envy. But I'm not quite sure what the opposite would be, and if there is even a polar opposite. What is the opposite, Tim? If someone's got a suggestion, I'm all ears. Opposite of envy. Idolizing. Or is idolizing a healthy outlet for envy? Let me think here. Affection. But you can be an affectionate, envious person. And you can idolize someone while also being envious. Benevolence. Benevolent and envious? That sounds less possible. I'm liking that one. I'm with high, actually. Envy's always a mix with something else. In that, I think envy's a more complex emotion. It's not a base emotion. It's a combination of different ingredients like a cake. Yeah. Give it to high. Hang around high. We like your philosophy. Hi, 420. I wonder how it would look different if AI made a man with envy. I'll ask it. Not right now, but I like that. I think it's more important that when I asked AI for a picture of envy, it made it this. And it's interesting for me because when I asked for certain emotions, it chose genders. And that was interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's interesting that AI chose, whether at random or not. It's more white team. Daringly take out little, yeah, we do. See, there's one other naughty feature in this painting. And there's this actual light source hitting your face. Now, why that's important is envy needs something to view. You don't sit by yourself and get envious, then you're brooding and you're feeling resentment. You can resent by yourself, resent anything and everything. But to envy, there has to be a subject from which to envy. So, the light touches her lightly around her face, but doesn't come from within. So we need to capture that. We're going to use lemon yellow. First off, having it a little bit more murky. And then as it keeps getting added, the lemon yellow gets stronger and stronger until it becomes quite apparent that we're dealing with a much brighter tone that touches the skin. If you're hawk-eyed, you might spot the subtle inclusion of yellow here. Hi, Michael. Appreciate that. G'day, Macboy, and hello, Jules. Welcome on in. Cheers, Wonderworld. No hablo español. Cheers, Michael. That was a bad stroke. Didn't need paint there. Just got excited. More yellow, more black. That's the plan. How are we doing there? I like this cheeky bit of green here. It's like, it's from the early layers, and this eye gets a lot of definition, but it feels like this one here, again, the covering up of this one, that eye looks so angry. And that eye looks so kind and wishing. Guys, I'm enjoying this picture. I'm enjoying this envy. So I'll give you guys another little demo here in a second. This is who we're painting. This is what AI gave me. It's AI's idea of envy. So there's AI, and we're using it as a reference. Unless I can get the, there we go. That was it, what AI got. And then there we are. But this one here is actually, let's see how we did with those warm ones actually. Drake's video from Twitter. Yeah, okay. So it's very subtle, but this is the original where we were just working from. And there's the little bit of warmth added to it. Very subtle. Seems like you beat Jake's video from Twitter. Never heard of Drake's video from Twitter. Rain. Perfect. Perfect. Time in New Zealand right now, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. So now pause there for a moment, team. I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm leaving you guys here by yourselves. What I'll do though before I go, it won't be gone that long. But this will be fun. If this works. See, I left my other tripod at home, so I'm using this sort of bootleg method. Where was it? There we go. Then we'll move this to there. There we go. There we go. All right. I'll be back soon, guys. Bye. Sorry, guys. I'm back now. Put this right on. back up. Was that too high? Be a wee bit too high. You got Jay Smith being like the Terminator. The host will return. Yes. Okay, slow down that side a little bit more too. And then our picture can go up. I'm going to bring it really close here so I can see it alongside well. Hopefully I don't kick that leg because that'll spell disaster for the iPad. There we go. Perfect. Got the bits and pieces. Right. Perfect. We're up to date. Okay. Let's just see. Just get that recentered there a little bit for you guys. That's where we want to be. Comes it there. Right. You know, it's funny. I think with the amount of egg temper I've got left, I think we could have made this painting with a singular egg, which makes no difference to the painting's outcome whatsoever. Same painting, same style, same everything. But imagine if we could do it with a single egg. Is that quite cool? I think that's quite cool. Yeah. Alright, team. We're not far off. Calling this one completed. Should you draw a portrait of me like the Titanic guy? I mean, we could. It is a possibility. Out there in the world of possibilities. Ooh, yo, kick. One thing I said I wasn't going to do. Did it? Alrighty, tighty. It is my full name. It is my full name. Indeed. And I think, Timmy, I think she's done. I think she's done. Let me take it for a look-see. Up we come. See you, Jules. Have a lovely night. Oh, Jules, before you go, I'll just spin you around at the front shot on this picture here. There we have it. There's our picture. I like it. I like how obnoxious this patch up here is. Maybe we'll grab a bit more colour. We'll see. But I like how it deconstructs up the top here, the whole way across the top, into just quite rudimentary shapes. If I bring it right up here close, this corner here is fantastic for it. See how it turns into really blockish, wild colours. Let me actually spin you around a bit so it's easier. Find the spin part. Flip camera. There we go. Cool. So at the top here, breaking down into big shapes. Obnoxious big shapes all up the top here. This is one of my favourite pieces of the whole painting. And then down the bottom here, we've got this ugly dry brushing, which I like. The bottom's got very little detail. And then when we come to the mouth and things, now we're talking about a lot of splash and brush strokes. You can see through here, we've used a lot of colors to emphasize those pursed lips. Coming up here, you can see I love these blues tucked underneath. And this is a great example of that sort of wild primal style of brush strokes. All directions, having fun, playing around. And you'll notice that we haven't over-focused on the eye either. There's the eye. So a lot of wild strokes in all directions playing around, but we never actually refined the eye, which I like. It doesn't want refining. It wants to look like wild paint up close. See this? That's a great example. Wild paint. Over here, wild paint. But then when we start to pull away, you see here is a good example. Here we go. We're going to start pulling away. Out we come. And only once you come back to about here does the context start to erupt. And then to here, you start to see the whole picture. Bang. There we go. Fun, fun, fun. Let's spin this around here. There we go. So there's our first in our lineup. That's going to be envy. Envy has been fun. I think we might yin yang from envy to ecstasy to happiness or whatever it might be, backwards and forwards. So we actually get this contrasting, multifaceted approach. But for now, that's our first emotion from AI to painting. There's AI's emotion, envy. Here's our version of envy. All right, guys. It's been a blast. And I will see you all on the next one. I do love Disney. 12 Dwarfs. It's possible. It's possible. And tomorrow, I'd just be guessing right now, but I think we'll do ecstasy. Yeah, sorry, Cindy. We've just started this one from scratch, made it, and now we'll be on to the next one. To finish this one off, to protect it, I will put some sort of protective coat over it. I'm not quite sure what yet. And then the frame for a picture like this is just white. Simple white, about that thick. And what that'll do is about 3 to 4 inches around the edges of it to give it some peace before it heads off out into the world. I will be challenging myself with ecstasy. I've got the picture for it. It's on my phone though, so I can't show you off the bat, but it's a pretty fun one. Yeah. So there we have it. Anyway, guys, look after yourselves, and I will see you later. Bye, guys. Oh, and thank you so much for everyone for joining in. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this painting with you. It's been great to have you guys there to level my head while I've been sort of dealing with this quite complex emotion, because you start painting envy and then you start getting, it sounds weird, but envious and resentful about things in your own life. So I was able to actually diffuse that with the conversation, with the shared journey, and actually get this piece which I can actually step back from and enjoy without entangling too many of my own feelings within quite a entangling emotion. Anyway, guys, catch you later. Nah, not really, but I've got to. So we'll be back tomorrow with another emotion. Bye, guys.